Court filings revealed Project Ascension was run by multiple shell companies using Russian infrastructure to launder millions of dollars. What? Dude, when people say private servers, oh, we do this out of the goodness of our hearts, we do this for free. It's so funny. What? People thought Turtle WoW's court case was crazy. This is 100 times worse. Every defendant except for one is from the US. And they put retail shit in it for money. They did have ads on YouTube. My gosh. Oh, they are effed. Blizzard Entertainment, a Delaware corporation, classic. Plaintiff Blizzard Entertainment Inc. Wait, this is insane. So, okay, hold on. You guys know generally like how I feel about things. I feel like if somebody is doing something to provide a service for you, whether that service includes entertainment, whether that service includes something that makes your life easier, something that helps you generate revenue, it is reasonable, acceptable. It should even be expected that you have to like pay for that. You have to spend money to make money. I think it makes sense. I don't think there should be an expectation that something that somebody else spent their time, money, effort, expertise on, there shouldn't be an expectation that it's free. If it's free or if it's a bonus or this or that, then cool, right? Awesome even. Now, with that being said, the problem with private servers, and this is coming from me as like a private server WoW, that's my home. Okay, that's like where I came from. Okay, I came from private servers. There has to be an understanding of like the legalities of the current situation. And we're in a different situation now in 2026 than we were in like 2017, 2016, when vanilla WoW private servers were a thing and there was no way to play classic, there was no way to play vanilla, and nothing was being provided. Well, now you could say there's no way to play classic plus, quote, whatever classic plus means. And because there's no way to play classic plus, then something like a Turtle WoW or an Ascension is like, whoa, they're giving us something that doesn't exist. Not really, because it's not something that ever existed, right? They're not hosting and offering like a service for you to be able to play something that was already created, made, and maintained years ago that no longer exists. The problem here is they are now taking things that haven't existed, but using like things that currently exist to be able to like make money and generate revenue, and also like advertising for it. Like you see these ads for like Turtle WoW and Ascension all over the place, which is insane. Once they started putting ads on YouTube and stuff, years that's been happening. I think it's crazy that Blizzard didn't go after them right away once they started putting out ads. But like Blizzard has to like protect their IP legally. At a certain point, if you don't do something about it, then you kind of lose your IP because they're like, well, I mean, there's no way you didn't know about this for 10 years. With all this being said, the situation of Turtle or Ascension or whatever, it's a little bit different than Nostalrius and Light's Hope and Old Elysium, all that stuff, right? At the same time, when you're trying to like generate a ton of revenue off of something, it's very clear. Like, it's not like you don't know. It's very clear. It's well documented. It's happened to tons of people, streamers, other services, whatever. Like what Ascension should have done whenever Turtle WoW got hit, they should have been smart, cut their losses and be like, hey, we're gonna shut it down because Turtle WoW is getting shut down. We made millions of dollars that was laundered through Russian shell companies. Let's shut it down and cut our losses, cut our gains. That's probably what they should have done. But instead they stuck around, and then they get hit too. So it looks like Blizzard is back at it again with the legal action against private servers. They hit Turtle WoW a few months ago. Actually, in the past, with the Nostalrius team originally, it wasn't the same as what happened with the RICO charges. With Nostalrius, when this originally happened in like 2016, 2017 time, actually I think it was 2016 specifically, when this happened 10 years ago with Nostalrius, they invited the Nostalrius team out. They contacted the Nostalrius team and like, hey, shut it down. And Nostalrius was like, okay, we'll do it. We're gonna shut it down. We're gonna comply because there's a greater goal here, and the greater goal is to get legacy servers from Blizzard, proper legacy servers. Now, I gotta say, depending on who you are and who you ask, when you say proper legacy servers, and I've been very vocal about this in the past, I don't think Blizzard gave us the best version of a vanilla WoW that they could have given us. I don't think so. I think that there's things they could have done better. I think progressive itemization was like one of the biggest keys to making like a good classic WoW, and one of the biggest things that made Nostalrius really pop off was that Blizz-like, is what they called it, that Blizz-like experience. Proper patch progression, going from patch 1.1 to 1.11. Now there was some stuff mixed up. They merged some things. They made some changes. They changed some gear. They released some gear at different times because they accounted for the times. I was very vocal about this. I made a video about this. It was my most disliked video at the time that I made it, where I said Classic WoW needs some changes because there was this notion, and it started with Asmongold talking about no changes. And I'm like, hold on, break it down. Asmon does this thing, okay? He's always done this thing. He'll make like a grand statement. He makes makes like a tagline and then there's like no context underneath it. People just grab onto the tagline, but then there's like, hold on, that's not how it works. So it's like a big talking point, big tagline. So he's like, no changes. And then he really pushed the no changes thing. And I'm like, yeah, but you have to account for the times. You have to make some changes for specific things, which by the way, they did, but they tried not to because they were so like worried, well, this is what people want, isn't it? And I'm like, no, it's not. People don't know what they want. Because there was a bunch of changes made on Nostalrius. There was a bunch of changes made on Elysium, on Light's Hope, but they were very small. They were under the hood, and the layman, the average player, doesn't really know or understand what those changes are. And because of this, you end up having a lot of like improper discourse for the development of the game. That was an entirely different situation than what you're getting with Turtle WoW, with Ascension WoW. Turtle WoW is gone, shut down, and then there's Ascension. So Ascension is similar to Turtle WoW. It's like this kind of classless, well, I think they have like a bunch of different versions of it now, but it's like you build your own class type of WoW. Like it's like a cool idea for like a fun private server. But what they're doing is whenever they pull a bunch of stuff from retail, whenever they pull a bunch of stuff from classic, and they just kind of mishmash it all together and kind of build their own thing that they're making money off of, and there's a lot of like microtransactions and stuff like that, you're obviously going to run into legal trouble. And that's why they're going so heavily after the Turtle WoW. These guys should have shut it down too. Because I mean, they've made millions of dollars allegedly. This is some bullet points from the post itself. The complaint says it plainly: EMS is an undercapitalized shell company that does not have an office or employees, exists solely as a conduit for monetary transactions, avoid tax liability for revenue related to Project Ascension. EMC is another undercapitalized shell company, does not have an office or employees, exists solely as a conduit for monetary transactions to avoid tax liability for revenue related to Project Ascension. The entity that actually collects the money, Online Management Partners, is the entity that collects the donations on behalf of the Ascension website. Blizzard has been unable to determine at this time whether Online Management Partners is a formal legal entity or merely an unincorporated association. Both shell companies are described as alter egos. EMS serves as an alter ego of Powell and Mannion, who intermingle personal funds with corporate funds to use a house owned by EMS as their personal residence. EMC serves as an alter ego of Powell and Mannion, who intermingle personal funds with corporate funds and use EMC to conceal their assets from claimants such as Blizzard and from creditors. Servers. Project Ascension's private servers, or pirate servers, are hosted by the Russia-based Aza Group. The Aza Group from Russia has been involved in selling access to specialized servers and other computer infrastructure designed to help cyber criminals like ransomware actors, personal information stealers, and drug vendors evade detection and resist law enforcement attempts to disrupt their malicious activities. The charges, there are 9 charges, 9 counts. RICO conspiracy, copyright infringement, 4 flavors of copyright infringement, DMCA violation, intentional interference with contracts, false designation of origin under the Lanham Act, TLDR, shell companies laundering millions of dollars, assets hidden from creditors, servers parked with a Russian cybercrime host, RICO charges, same as Turtle WoW, and this is before discovery. So this is somebody else's interpretation of what's going on, and they're bullet pointing it for people. Hold on. The Doe defendants are associated with the following aliases on the online communication platform known as Discord. I don't know why this sentence this sentence makes me laugh. On the online communications platform known as Discord. Zamasu 1977, Karis, bro, I can't come up with the username, Bert, Reaper Skippy, Kaidi. I don't know any of these people. With Turtle WoW, like I knew some of the people that were listed. They were like the people that were doing Elysium. They don't actually list the main guy, really. Those are the helpers that Ascension had. They were like low tier mods that would help answer questions in Discord with 0 power. Oh, that's crazy. Well, you know when the last one, the same thing happened with Shagu. So Shagu is a dev. Shagu is an add-on developer, not a game developer, an add-on developer who makes WoW add-ons. And he was thrown into that Turtle WoW case as well. Now, I don't know what happened, but Shagu had nothing to do with Turtle WoW directly. He just made add-ons. So because it was shared that, people would be like, oh, like PF UI or PF this, because that's what Shagu would do. They would talk about it. So his name kind of got thrown in there, but Shagu didn't do anything, right? Shagu was not a part of the Turtle WoW stuff, but he was in this. I don't know if his case got dropped or I don't know what happened. Hopefully it did, because I mean, this is like really serious stuff. And if you're like not involved, that like actually sucks. Wait, so they use the retail client? They modded it to have retail models. They backported a bunch of stuff from retail into the 335 client. So it's a super custom 335 with retail features. Okay, take a look at this. This is like listed in there as like the base of operations or something in this PDF. This location, $5.5 million home, 9,500 square. Yeah, this private server is pretty lucrative, it looks like. They did ascend. Yeah, they ascended into the maximum tax bracket they can find, dude. What the hell? Absolutely insane. Especially after Turtle WoW got shut down. It blows my mind that Ascension, dude, they made as much money as they did, and they weren't like, okay, we've made our money. Turtle just got hit. There's 0% chance that we don't eventually get hit. We should just take our cash and run. I feel like they should have just done that. There's a difference between a basic private server and this type of shit. Yeah. I mean, summon auctioneer, field repair bot, mail terminal. Yeah, I mean, I feel like when it comes to stealing ideas or somebody else came up with something and then Blizzard copied it or this guy copied it or whatever, my honest opinion is that there's actually so little that you can really do like the right way. There's so few options to do the right way, but very few individual ideas when it comes to game design and like the expansion of WoW, Classic WoW, whatever it is, Classic Plus, whatever you want to call it. There's very few like truly original creative ideas because so much is already talked about and it's like kind of simple. Like I think something like the rune system in SOD was actually, it was cool and exciting, but it really wasn't very good. It just wasn't. That's why they kind of threw it out the window in the middle of SOD. It just wasn't good. And tons of games have done that in the past. That's just the truth. You know, whether it's like ARPGs, like PoE, even Cursemark that just came out, right? Cursemark uses a rune system to modify your abilities. It's not like this like brand new sort of new concept. I mean, Diablo, right? Diablo is a Blizzard game. It's a very common design concept. By the way, this goes across the board. Like a lot of times, like if you'll watch me talk about something they should do in Classic Plus, or you should watch anybody say anything, and like everybody's gonna kind of say the same things for the most part. There's nothing particularly creative that people are coming up with. At the end of the day, it looks like Ascension WoW's getting hit super hard. I'm surprised they didn't shut themselves down, especially with the, here's the thing, with the amount of money that they're making. I'm like, man, I just feel like the smart thing to do would be like, oh, frick, look at what happened to the neighbors. We gotta run, we gotta dip. So, but yeah, it looks like Ascension is also getting the axe, and one more Classic Plus private server gets on the chopping block. Last thing, this one's from Warmain. People legit defend this shit. Insane.